Hi, this is a short video about for loops in Swift. So I'm going to set up an array, we'll call it R, short for array, and I'll put in a few characters. A, B, C, D seems traditional enough. And so if I want to print them out, actually Swift will let me do that by just saying print the array. Now it's not very satisfactory because it just prints them all on one line. So what I might like to do is use a for loop. So it will take each letter in the array and then we can print letter. Now that name could be anything. In this case it makes sense to call it letter. If it's not letters, if it was people, you'd call it people, etc, etc. Now in some cases you don't want to refer to the letter as letter, as in it could be anything. So what would happen if we printed 4 elements? Well, it would run through each of these, and for each of these it would print an element. Again, if you had, say, animals, you'd have animal, 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 animal. So that might make some sense in some cases. Now, instead of printing each one in the array, you might want to print a series of numbers. So this is a range of numbers. Okay, and because I haven't named the variable, this is going to come up with a nasty error. So expecting it to print 0, 1, 2, and luckily it does. So we could use this to then subscript R and say, I want to print out element 0. Because this is 0 indexed, it's the first element, then 1, 2, 3. Oh, and of course, there are more than 3 elements, so I make that 3. Now that's the type of slip you probably wouldn't want to make, so instead of using 3 you can use r.count, but there's going to be a wrinkle in this. When I click go, I'm going to get an error, because we've printed A, B, C, D and tried to print an extra element at the end. So what we can do is use this operator to say don't include r.count. And then we can print out all of the elements in our array. So it's an alternative way of printing the elements. Now, what if you wanted to print out just even numbers? So you wouldn't want to use our little array at all. So we can call I for integer. Since I've called it I can later refer to it, and that means when I click go, it prints 0, 2, and 4. And you might think 0, that's a little bit funny, but actually 0 is technically an even number. So this is correct.